layers for blowing stuff, and people love all that kind of stuff. People love Unity for it. But on top of being highly accessible for all of these different types of people and all these different types of developers, including game developers, we have a big focus recently, in the past couple of years, on making Unity something that you can ship AAA content with. And of course, we have some different definitions of AAA too, because AAA used to be, you had a budget of $25+ million, a marketing budget of $25+ million, a staff count of 25 million+ people, etc. That's not really working out so well anymore. But people still want to make high-end content. So we built some tools for that. Let's get into the meat of that. So, is it projector over here? Cool. So with Unity, as Mark said, we shipped a sample project called Angry Bots. It is a dual-stick shooter. And all the art assets and all the script code and all the shaders and everything in there is actually free to use and deploy with your own games. So it's a great way to get a really quick start, not only in building content, but in learning how the Unity engine works. So right now, for those of you who haven't played with the sample, it's already installed with your copy of Unity. So you just open it up from your sample project folder and poke around and see how we did all this stuff. But some really cool things that are going on here with the Angry Bots project is this runs on every platform that we support. So I can go into Angry Bots, and I can go into build settings, and I can deploy to the web player. Let's go ahead and do it right now. I can also deploy to PC, and as Mark said, we're also going to be supporting Windows 8 Metro. So I'll be able to port to Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Mac OS X standalone. Again, the web player on Mac OS X as well. I can deploy Angry Bots to iOS. I can deploy Angry Bots to Android. I can deploy Angry Bots to Flash. I can deploy Angry Bots to Xbox 360. I can deploy Angry Bots to PS3.
So if you're deploying to all these different platforms, that insinuates that you have some middle layer that will take your asset libraries and what have you to different rendering APIs. I mean, so what? I mean, is that hidden behind the thing, or do you know as the user of Unity whether you're targeting DirectX 9 or 11 or OpenGL or WebGL? Do you know that as you're working in this, or is that behind the scenes?
So broadly speaking, we like to say that we do the hard work so you don't have to. More specifically speaking, that's not always true. But so what's going on there is that we definitely do a lot of that hard work for you. So we like it. We like it to be set up so that you guys can build content and build art and build gameplay and not have to worry about the underlying technology. And so we built, and I'll get to the DirectX OpenGL part in a second. And so the way we built Unity, we made a couple of interesting choices that, frankly, no one else has made. Because when we made them, they were completely patently insane. Luckily, history has shown that to be was a good idea. But we built Unity on top of the Mono framework. The Mono framework is an open source implementation of Microsoft's .NET API. And the cool thing about Mono, not that .NET isn't cool, .NET is very cool, we love Microsoft. But the cool thing about Mono is that it runs on pretty much every platform known to man. So in addition to consoles and PC Mac standalone, etc., it also runs on all sorts of interesting embedded platforms. So we can take the same script code and deploy it just to practically anything on the planet. And this is a good opportunity for all of us to turn down our cell phone volume. Mine's at 0. And so even with Mono, that allows us to have all of your guys' code, all of your script code for the game, running on every platform without you writing it in a way that's specific to any single platform. With the graphics side, it's obviously a little bit more complicated. Because on Mac you have OpenGL, on Windows you have DirectX, and on various platforms you have kind of a mix and match. iOS and Android are OpenGL ES, Linux is OpenGL, PlayStation is, of course, its own renderer, PlayStation Vita is the GXM renderer, etc. It all gets quite complicated. So we've simplified that as much as we can. So what we've done with Unity, in order to make it so you don't necessarily have to focus on writing your shaders for every platform known to man, we have a couple of cool concepts in here. So if I open up one of these shaders, and that'll hopefully open up in our default Monodevelop editor if I've set my Mac up correctly. You may have noticed that I was madly scrambling to get things going because I had spent the entire drive up here getting my Windows box ready, which then was outputting at 640 by 480. Didn't work so well. All right. So this shader here, can we actually read this on the projectors? Awesome. Let me go ahead and talk about it rather than showing it. But so this this ugly blob of text that you're seeing on the screen, use a shader, I promise you. If you want to come up and see it, I can show it to you later. But what's going on here is we have this concept called Shader Lab. And Shader Lab is unique to Unity. What we can do with that is you can write incredibly simple shader programs. Let me just go ahead and highlight that particular Shader Lab shader. So it's just a couple of lines of very basic code. But what it's doing is it's actually setting up this shader to do a transparent additive rendering without Z-Write. So what's happening there is we're able to composite together images in the shader. The great thing is you don't see any shadow code in there. You don't see any lighting code in there. You don't see any platform-specific code in there because we generate that all on the fly, all automatically. Now, when you want to go to the metal and write something platform-specific, what you can do is just write platform-specific code. So you put an if-def in there. You can say, for Mac only or for OpenGL only, etc., go ahead and do this shader subprogram instead of this shader subprogram. Or if you really want to get to the metal, or deeply to the metal, you can go ahead and just write raw CG programs. So, and again, this goes back to Unity's mantra of we do the hard work so you don't have to. We want to make it simple, but we also want to make it so you can do AAA content, which means we need to give you the control. So by default, you don't need to worry about it, unless you want to worry about it, in which case, feel free to worry about it.